AITA for refusing to take my toddler to visit my in-laws? Plus update. Op is you, MJOT007. Original. AITA for refusing to take my toddler to visit my in-laws? Hubs and I have a young toddler, 15 months old. We live out of state from both of our families who are also far from each other. A 5-hour drive. Neither of our families live very close to a large airport. About 3 hours for my family and 2 for his. For context, my family adores Hubs. His family hates me and I don't like them either. The reasons they hate me aren't important. Just know that it's nothing I've done. There are certain unchangeable things about me that they hate, and they were against us being together as soon as they found out. Since establishing boundaries and getting married, they have calmed down, but they still avoid speaking or making eye contact with me. Now we have a toddler and I'm planning a trip to visit my parents for an upcoming holiday. We're also planning to tour the area because we're considering moving there next year. I've done all the legwork to plan the trip. Hubs wants to visit his family as part of the trip, but I refuse. My main reasons are, it's way too long of a car ride with how young kiddo is. It's already enough traveling and stress just getting out there. Second, they don't do anything for our kid. Multiple members of my immediate and extended family have visited at least once and stepped in to help with childcare gaps, even though they are all a flight away. So part of the purpose of this trip is for us to be the ones going to visit instead of them always coming to us. Hub's family has never met kiddo and have only done 2 video calls, although they have sent some small gifts. Third, we'd have to take more time off of work to fit it in. Hubs is pissed and thinks I'm trying to deny his family a relationship with our kid. I've extended an open invitation for them to visit, but so far they haven't. There's no financial burden on their side. They just give semi-plausible excuses. They counter with an offer to take kiddo for a few years so we can focus on our careers and kiddo can learn their language. OBV, that's a hard no from us. I offered to meet them for a day or 2 in the major airport city. They go there all the time. Since we have to go back anyway, but that's not good enough either. Apparently we have to go to them and can't expect them to accommodate us because they just won't do it. So if I want them to meet kiddo, we have to do all of the work. But I don't really care if they meet kiddo or not. Especially after all they've put me through. It's not my job to make sure that happens. I think if Hubs wants them to meet kiddo, then he needs to plan his own trip and coordinate with them, not tack onto what I'm already planning. Hubs thinks it's ridiculous to expect him to plan another trip when we're already going to be out there, even though it's not exactly close, and that I'm not considering his feelings. AITA? Update. AITA for refusing to take my toddler to visit my in-laws? I appreciate all of the comments, even the ones that said YTA, because it helped me remember to be empathetic to my husband's feelings. In the end, I stood my ground. We will not be visiting my in-laws for this trip or at all in the near future. It definitely got a bit heated, but logically it just didn't make any sense to visit my in-laws. We'd be about 5 hours away by car. We'd have to rent a car to see them. We'd have to pay for a hotel because they don't want me in their house. And they don't even celebrate this holiday. I also recently started a new job and don't have much PTO banked up. What little I do have I need for the short holiday trip and then our big move in spring. I laid all this out to my husband and asked him how we would resolve these issues, and he didn't have an answer. I can't magically get more PTO. Neither one of us wants to add 10+ hours of driving onto a trip that already has a cross-country flight or pay for a hotel car rental. And frankly, our parents do not live near each other, even though it might be in the same region. Think one lives in NYC, the other in Buffalo, New York. Yeah, it's the same state, but it's not close at all. So this expectation that when we see one we have to see both has to stop. A few weeks later we talked about it again in the context of us moving closer. Still 56-hour drive. And I laid out for him that I'm simply not willing to go so far out of my way to make sure my in-laws have a relationship with our kid. They're racist. They were terrible parents to all of their kids, but especially abusive to my husband. They're already playing favorites. Read. Golden child and scapegoat. With their other grandkids, and I'm not going to move heaven and earth to have the idea of a family with them. My husband has come a long way in not jumping every time they snap their fingers, but this was something he struggled with. I completely understand that he wants to have the same experience that I have had, of showing my kid off to my family, watching the bonds develop, etc. But in reality it just won't happen for his family. They don't care about him very much. Never call or send a gift for his birthday, even though he spends a lot of money on them for their holidays and birthdays. They still have no plans to come visit our kid and haven't done a video call in 6 months. In the more than 10 years we've been together, not once have they come to us. So we're dropping the rope. Hubs is free to have whatever relationship he's comfortable with, but we aren't going to be putting in any extra effort right now unless something changes. I hope this helps other people in multiracial relationships see how things might turn out. Your in-laws may never come around, and you have to decide if it's worth it to you. For me it is. But it's not without conflict at times. I knew it when she said they hated her for some reason. It will turn out to be racism. Glad they resolved the matter. Kiddo deserves grandparents who loves it. I hope this helps other people in multiracial relationships see how things might turn out. Your in-laws may never come around, and you have to decide if it's worth it to you. Words of wisdom. Glad Op stood her ground. Happy it sounds like husband is growing a spine. See, as the kids are half her race. Perhaps not taking them to see the racist grandparents is a good call. Wait, they won't let her in the house, but her husband is still trying to make her have a relationship with them? And people said YTA? We'd have to pay for a hotel because they don't want me in their house, yikes. Love how Oop is done and will not subject herself or her children to people who are not willing to go see them, but still think it's reasonable to ask to raise the grandchildren, to learn their language, when they are racists. The minute she said she wasn't allowed in their home, that sealed the deal for me. If I'm not welcome, I'm sure as hell not sending my child. Nope. Oop is great! Exclamation mark. F the in-laws! Exclamation mark. Hubby needs a wee bit of therapy to help drop the rope. I knew it had to be racial. Glad she realized that she doesn't have to do for them when they won't lift a finger for her. Yeesh. Glad that Oop seems to have come to a decision that helps preserve her sanity. But it must suck for her husband. Putting all that emotional effort into people who don't accept you and seemingly never will. That must be tough. Fuck racists. Glad the kiddo won't be exposed to such toxic people. Let them make the effort. I love it when adults communicate. How could he expect Oop to plan a visit when she's not even allowed in their house? I do think Oop should consider language lessons, in case the child takes an interest in the father's heritage. The in-laws don't have to be involved, but I believe a multiracial child should have all their ethnicities acknowledged. My son is glow-in-the-dark like me, but we've taught him about his complete heritage, including the various languages. Did not take long enough for me to know that his family was racist and that Oop was a black woman. It was just very obvious. She honestly needs a divorce if her husband is just allowing his family to be racist. I don't think the racial reasons were important actually. They could both be of the same race and culture, but the fact that this trip is effectually to repay her family for the effort they put into her child, and she didn't want to do the same for a family who was putting no effort. Perfectly reasonable. That she told her husband that he had to facilitate it if he wanted it? Absolutely fine. The racism makes it worse, but it wasn't necessary for Op to be right about her boundaries. If the parents are racist, how likely is they actually want to see their grandchild? Also, is really weird for Oop to conceal the parents-in-law are racists, and then just drop it casually. I'm the one with the toxic family. My mother hated the idea of me being independent and her not being able to influence me. She used a lot of toxicity to control me growing up, and then tried to claim my husband was trying to control me or mooch off my money. I have no money. I cut my parents off 6 weeks after my baby was born. Now we've moved to the same city as my mill. She's a wonderful woman and mother and grandmother to our daughter. I'm in therapy because I have to learn that not all mothers are like mine. My mill can't be a replacement, but I can maybe feel more secure with her. The reasons they hate me aren't important literally changes the entire context of the story, but okay.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.